is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there, and welcome to another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. I am one of your raspy voice co-hosts, Matthew Hatfield, alongside the coach, Ed Young, who's got his 500 career wins in the background. For those of you tuning in on Apple and Spotify, which we are now on and available, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of our podcasting platforms, whether you're listening to us through YouTube, our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X as they call it, at 757 Sports Talk, all over the web, Ed. Good morning to you. You have Dick Vitale, for those that cannot see us, but can hear us in the background. He actually sent you that back in the early 1990s. Is that correct?
It's a long time ago. Dick Vitale said, "I'm awesome, baby." So I'll keep that, and we'll go from there, and we'll get more memorabilia. I also have my trusted attorney at my side there, Vinny Vanu. He is there making sure that you keep things straight. And he's already a little upset because he feels you're going to be sending your germs my side of the table.
Oh, boy, here you go.
He's sick. So, once again, these are the conditions I have to work under. I don't understand it. And I have my trusty, finally found it, my trusty 8-ball.
Well, you have a magic 8-ball.
Okay. Will a lawsuit against Matt Hatfield be in the future?
No. Hey, do me a favor. Can you test it out real quick? I ask a question and then you see if it gives us an answer and show it on the screen.
The lawsuit is more than
no. I'm going to ask it a question and then you have it show so we can actually see that you're not making up something. Can I ask a question? Go ahead.
Go ahead and ask the question.
All right. Is Matt Hatfield way better at predictions than Ed Young? Let's see what it says.
Answer says.
No, show the screen. You can't just cheat. Look, he's going to show it.
Coming up straight. Hold on.
Oh my! You got a broken 8-ball. What are we doing here?
Hold on. I'm not going to cheat on this one because most times, yes.
Let me see it. Show it. Let's see it here. Let's see it. Most time, I want to see it on the thing.
Can you read it?
Can we zoom in on it? It's not getting a good read.
No,
it's not getting a good read.
Yeah.
We'll trust
most
it.
Times, yes. I don't understand that one.
All right. We've got some special guests this morning on the program. By the way, this is Virginia Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend up there in Henrico County. So we send our best to Will Driscoll and all the inductees you see scrolling across our ticker going into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, including longtime UVA athletic director Craig Littlepage among those. Paul Woody, longtime sports columnist in Richmond as well. And I hate to start the show off on a little bit of a negative note, but we did that a little bit last week. We were wishing the very best to Frank Bennett, longtime sports analyst and contributor and a good friend of yours. You mentioned he got you in the radio business many moons ago. I do know he's been moved to Norfolk General and is improving, so we are glad to hear that encouraging sign for Frank. Not out of the woods yet, but he's getting better. But did get word late last night that a guy that got us started, at least got me started in the radio business, and I think he might have for you as well, Tony Mercurio.
Yes, he did.
We want to send our thoughts and prayers to the blast man, as we understand he is gravely ill. So our thoughts and prayers with Tony and all that have been connected and known Tony well over the years and what he's done for sports in the area, as he really was the one that set the tone for sports radio in Hampton Roads and did so much for various sports. We're talking about the Tides, the Old Dominion Lady Monarchs, talking about whatever local sports it is. He was the one, we always talk about Mike and the Mad Dog being the pioneers for it, and Tony was certainly the one here in Hampton Roads in the Commonwealth. So he's in our thoughts and prayers, Big T, and thank you for all that you've done for us, giving us the opportunity, and it's not forgotten or lost on us whatsoever.
Yeah, tough news to hear. Just really, really pray hard to Big Tony. He was the type of polarizing figure. I think either you liked him or you didn't. I don't know if there's much in the middle, but he did it his way, and I attribute so much to him. He helped me in radio, allowed me to do my thing 100% towards him. Frank Bennett brought me on as a guest, and I stayed forever. And then Tony had helped me be a co-host with Frank, and then Richie Somerville, yourself was involved in that too. So, but it was all because of Tony, and I got nothing bad to say about Big Tony, and I just hope things work out for him.
So let's move from that, Ed, as again, we give our thoughts and prayers and best to the blast man out there, wishing him, all the best in terms of his recovery. And Ed, a lot going on in the world of sports right now. You've got this time of year, the NFL draft is literally now 5 days away. Comes up on Thursday. We know the first pick is belonging to Chicago with the Bears, with Caleb Williams likely going to them. You also have the NBA and NHL playoffs starting up this weekend, and we've got the matchups that will be scrolling across our ticker if you're watching on Cova Sports TV on our YouTube channel and wherever you may be viewing us in addition to listening to us. But Ed, you also have the Portsmouth Invitational basketball tournament taking place at Churchland High School, and that's a neat event for all of us because you get to see some future NBA players at that event. So many have come through. I've gotten a chance to be a part of the stream on Prep Spin the last couple of days, and I'm so grateful for that. We've seen a number of players that were regional type players, if you will, ACC, like DJ Horn from NC State, Hunter Couture from Virginia Tech, and then some unknown gems, if you will, like Riley Minix from Morehead State, who's looked quite well, Enrique Freeman, who I know you've become a fan favorite of here from Akron, among so many others. It's the best 64 players that are seniors that are eligible to participate in the event that come to this. And over the years, we've seen John Stockton, Jimmy Butler, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, list goes on and on. Some local flavor like Dorian Finney-Smith, who's now with the Brooklyn Nets from IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth. One of your players, Shannon Evans from Nansman River, played in that event after he was done at Arizona State for Bobby Hurley. And the list goes on and on of local players, in-state college players, and so many more. TJ Pickerstaff brought some JMU fans to the building as he helped James Madison make the in-state tournament this year. Your thoughts from the last couple of nights at the PITs? We've had some good fun there, and I've probably had more fun in the NBA hospitality room than you have the last.
Yeah, the media
days.
hospitality room was not below par. I'm just going to say below par and leave it at that. And I don't want to be negative to anything, but
Are you knocking the hospitality room?
won't knock it. But it wasn't. I need to steal, like you did, a pass to get into the NBA hospitality room because that's where the food.
I didn't steal. I was welcomed with open arms. They said, "Oh, you're one of the broadcasters. Come right in. We take care of you." I got to give my friend out there, Patsy, a big shout out. Thanks to her hooking me up, taking care of. I'm sure she may be tuning in today.
You got to know the right people.
You do.
Know the right people.
It's all about connections in our business. And I guess you haven't connected yourself with the right individuals to allow you the proper access.
Hope I didn't. You got to get friendly with the doorkeepers at these hospitality rooms. The people that say, no, you get out. No, you come in. You got to get friendly with them, bring them gifts, whatever. And then you can sneak in there like Hatfield did and eat some spaghetti and that special chicken from that place that doesn't sponsor us. And
you want to give them a lot of free plugs last couple of shows.
Right. But I'm not going to complain. If it's free, it's me.
Well, the audience wants to know about what you think of the basketball. And are you going with Eric Johnson and Evan Key's team to get it done in the championship round today at the PIT or tonight at the PIT? Or are you going with the other team in tonight's championship game to take the crown, as you've got Portsmouth Partnership taking on Janet King? Janet King coached by Mike Holland, Roland Ross of Christopher Newport, and Cynthia Cooper, who you will hear from later on in today's show, the former WNBA All-Star, WNBA champion, who talks about the state of the women's game and also coaching men and what she's up to these days and her great history, part of that legendary Houston Comets trio. I wanted to show her, and I didn't get a chance to. I had time. I should have done it. I forgot. A picture of you and your photo look-alike, her former coach, Van Chancellor, because Van got a kick out of it. I wonder if she would have thought y'all look alike, or maybe they think that bobblehead's really Van Chancellor and not Vinny Vanu. Could be the case.
Could very well be.
Could very well be the case.
But the action on the floor, once again, is good. You mentioned a few names that we like. I like that little guard from is it Gaines from UAB?
Eric Gaines, yeah. He had 10 dimes the first night, and then last night I think he dropped about 20 points and scored in a variety of ways. Very crafty, and he can definitely fill it up.
Yeah, I liked his game watching him play last night in terms he just plays so smooth, like no stress at all when he's playing. He's getting the he can finish at the rim. He got the mid-range. Missed a big three at the end would have helped their team win the game, but obviously didn't happen. But, once again, these are players that the NBA helps bring in too. They're not projected first rounders. The seniors that are projected first rounders will not be in this tournament. There's no real need for them to be in it, even though it would be neat, kind of be neat to see them come in and play. But I guess their agents tell them you can only hurt yourself in this situation, literally and figuratively. You play poor, or let's say you turn an ankle or a knee or whatever. So they don't come in this to play. These are guys that are really trying to show maybe a second round pick or a nice free agent pickup. And of course, the other leagues, the other professional leagues around the world. There's tons of scouts from those leagues too that are there to watch. And a lot of these guys, that's going to be their best bet, period. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can make a living playing basketball, getting paid to play basketball, even if it's overseas, as long as it's not in any countries that have the tanks and the warplanes out. It's a good way to make a living.
It is. And so you didn't give me a real commitment on who you're picking to win between Janet King and Portsmouth Partnership.
Who's coaching Portsmouth Partnership? Cynthia Cooper.
Portsmouth Partnership. No. That's the team we watched last night.
That's Eric Johnson.
Rally from 20 down. That's Eric Johnson and Evan Key. By the way, who we had on the show and won a national championship not long after he was on the show with us. And so I guess you're off the hook from being the jinx.
Well, I've never been the jinx, but we're not going to go over that. My lawyer's taking care of business on that. It's in the contract. Most of the times when we were doing radio and that, and we interviewed somebody, the Hatfield jinx was in full effect. The only time I interviewed somebody by myself and they lost was one time. I forget who that person was, but it was one time. I'm going to go.
I think it was Dave. It was Dave. It was Dave Macedo of Virginia Wesleyan who you interviewed and they lost. Yeah.
I think I'll go with.
Macedo doesn't give you any free shirts at his camp anymore.
I told you. With Key and Johnson.
So you're going with them to beat Cooper, Dyke, and Ross. Okay. All right, we'll see if that happens. I'll go Oppo you just to. I think that team's a little bit better, just by a smidge. Yeah, but what player would you pick right now if you had to pick one for the draft? If one's going to get drafted, there might be more than one to get drafted. There might be a couple that go undrafted that have better careers than someone that does get drafted. But if you're beginning a draft, and we got the NFL draft coming up on Thursday, and we'll talk about the NBA draft as we get closer to that. We might even pop on a couple of people we've interacted with at the P.I.T this week. But if you could pick one player from the 64 you've seen to start a team with, who would be your player?
That would be hard to say. There's so many that look the same. I really like the Minix kid because he's got good size, got a strong shot, but he's not a team guy that you build a team around. He's a piece for the team. I don't see anybody in this of the 64 you build a team around. I see pieces that if I have a team, I wouldn't mind them being on the team. And when I say that, it doesn't mean they're NBA guys. Now you could say, who do you think has the best shot at making the NBA? Don't worry about whether they're first round, second round, that they'll get a contract and then they'll play well in the camps and they'll make a team. Regular season gets here, they're on the roster. The Minix kid, I think, can be one. The NBA to me is so locked into size. Like the guard gains from UAB. It's probably 6 foot, 6'1", but he does so many things. But then they're going to say, well, he's doing those against guys that will probably be overseas at the best. They're not all going to be in the NBA. So how's this game transition to playing against NBA-style players, bigger, stronger, quicker, faster, all of that? And the smaller you are in the NBA, you have to have a particular skill that is absolute elite or tremendous physical skills that can lead and help you stay on the court against other people. For the most part, you look at Doncic, the guy, when you just look at him, you never guess in a mall he's an NBA player. And he's considered one of the best.
But isn't that the same thing with Nikola Jokic, the reigning NBA Finals MVP?
Yeah, he's another one, but he's so big you can almost figure, well, he's in the NBA. But someone like Luka is not. He's like 6'3", 6'2"-ish, but he can shoot the basketball from anywhere on the court with consistency. He can get to the hole.
That's the big word, consistency.
Yeah,
Underline and highlight that. Why is that, real quickly, such a big talking point for all the talking heads as well as the NBA scouts, evaluators, analysts out there? Consistency. I hear that 85 times a day. Consistency.
Well, if you're a shooter and you score 30 in one game, and then the rest of the week you can't even get 30 total in the next 4 games, you're not consistent. You're not somebody you can really rely on. You're what I would call you're a lucky scorer at times. If you shoot the ball from 3-point range and you're shooting 21%, I'd rather you not shoot because you're missing it 80% of the time. Now, in most everywhere where there's 3-point shooting, they say if you're 33%, you're pretty good. If you're making 1 out of 3, you're pretty good. If you're shooting 33% overall as your shooting percentage, 2-pointers, 3-pointers combined, if I'm coaching you, you can't shoot the ball. That's not a good percentage at all. So when we look at guys who are considered big scorers, first of all, you look at their shooting percentage. If it's in the high 40s, yes, that guy's going to take a lot of shots. And I think that's when we say you have to be consistent is what you're looking at. We don't want somebody, they got 30 points and the shooting for that night was 29%. The 30 points look good, but the 29% is not a good percentage. They missed a lot of shots. They missed way more than they made. They just took a ton of shots. That could hurt your team. That could slow your team down.
So if I could pick one player, I don't know if you've been fully committed to one. I'm going to go with the young man from Mississippi State, Tolu Smith, who had 18 points, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals last night for Jenny King. He'd be my first pick. Now, I don't say that with like uber confidence that he's by far and away the best player there, but if they go on to win it, which I guess I'm picking them to do so, right? I guess I'm going to select him as the probable potential MVP. You okay with that? That bother you?
No, that's a good one. Another kid I really liked. And each time I've seen him play, I like him more and more. The young man from Providence,
Josh Oduro.
He had a big fella. He
started out at Battlefield, but he had 21 points last night for Portsmouth Partnership and 8 rebounds with 3 steals, couple of blocks. Went from Battlefield to Paul the 6. He's got some hybrid skills as a 4, doesn't he?
Yeah, he runs the floor. He talks on the floor. He's setting screens. I mean, to me, he's really helping himself. He's got to get in a little bit better shape, but he's still running the floor like crazy, which, if I'm a scout, I want to see, none of these guys are going to be for an NBA team are going to be like a starter or a main guy. They're filling a roster. Okay, I want to be able to go for a guy that you're going to probably get 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes a game. But what are you going to do in those 4, 5, 6 minutes? Stand in a corner and do nothing? Hoping somebody will throw you the ball because you're supposedly a shooter and you want to show everybody you are. You've got to do some other things. Moving without the ball in offense, setting screens, taking help side away. Because if you're a mobile offensive player, then people can't really help off of you because they're going to lose you, which means they're going to find you at the basket, shooting the layup, or hitting that open 3. That big fella really does a good job with that movement. That's kind of what I would look for in terms of how this tournament goes. In terms of you look at it, the PITs is just an absolute fantastic concept. I think now it's the only type of tournament of its kind in the nation, which is unbelievable because so many other ones have fallen by the wayside in much bigger cities, have fallen apart. So this one has continued to stay strong all these years.
This is not a big-time, strong NBA draft, which could mean there's more solid, and this is a solid PIT field of players that end up finding their way into the league, whether they're undrafted, they go the Euro international route, and then end up getting to the pros a couple years down the road, the NBA, maybe the G League route, and going that way to so there could be some more players from this particular crop that end up on NBA rosters than some recent ones. It's got that type of potential, even though there's not 1 or 2 signature names that you'd say are above and beyond, the rest on the rosters that we've had at the PIT.
You look at, we talk about NBA, since we're talking basketball, and we say, well, he's an NBA player. We tend to think everybody's similar to like a LeBron James. LeBron James is an exceptional talent. He's at the other end of the spectrum. His room does not have many in it. When you look at the NBA as a whole, there are many guys in the NBA. When you see them, you say, how did he make it? He's not really that good. He's a good fit. And really, when you start thinking about it, any basketball team, and you could go to the other sports, it's about fit. Who fits that team in terms of what they do? You can't have 13 stars on an NBA team, like an all-star team. Everybody's good because you're going to have a lot of unhappy people. They're not going to get the ball much.
Sure.
And if all they do is score and there's only one ball, you're not going to get the ball much. You really got to be able to fit it. Now, when you talk professional sports, physical skill, physical ability does come into play. NBA, tall guys. NFL, strong, burly guys. Baseball, more lean type of athlete because the big thing in baseball, if you're a hitter, you got to be able to hit the ball. And 300, 3 out of 10 is exceptional in baseball if you're a 300 hitter. Now, anything else in life, you do 30%, you're a failure. But in baseball, you're a Hall of Famer. These are the things that you have to look at. A lot of people don't really understand. There are so many guys, playground legends, who can never make the NBA. And then you see a guy who's maybe 10th man on a team in the NBA, and you're saying, how did he make it? He fit what they're looking for. He has a particular skill because when he gets on the floor, he's got to do something. You got to defend somebody, or you got to be able to score. You got to do something. And really, you can take that concept and bring it into the college level and bring it into the high school level. You have to be able to fit a team. You have to have work ethic. You have that IQ. Again, I'll stay with basketball. If you have a basketball IQ that's high, you got a great chance. A football IQ that's high, you got a great chance in football, and so forth and so on. And a lot of times people don't understand that. Sometimes, at the younger level, parent, kid will say, I scored 15 a game, I got cut. I can't believe I got cut. Well, you didn't fit the team. We didn't need you to score points. I've got other people who are going to take more shots than you are. And you didn't show me that you can do anything else. That's why I really can't keep you. Because you're probably going to become a pain in the butt if you can't adjust. And that's another thing about being an athlete. How do you have the ability to adjust? A lot of guys go from being a college star into the NBA and you're just another player. Can you do that? And they don't because they're used to having the ball all the time, things going their way. And now that you have to be more of a role player, they can't accept that. So they're gone.
I don't know if you see it scrolling across our ticker. Norfolk Admirals, before we go to break here, we talked about the Tides, and we'll talk more about the Tides as we move along. In fact, you can check out the Tides Talk podcast with our man Jack Lowe. Hey, we're giving you lacrosse now, a new lacrosse podcast, which is on our Cova Sports TV channel. You can check it out. Mark Havala, as well as, you've got, on that Cova Sports TV lacrosse podcast, you have Coach H, and you've got Coach Havala on that podcast that people can check out. It's on our Cova Sports TV. They did their first debut show on our Cova Sports TV page with that. So you can check it out. It's now on the new podcast page for lacrosse. And we've got all kinds of great things happening on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel and the website and through Cova Sports TV. But the Admirals, tough loss Friday night, 5-4. They're going to have their first home playoff game in 10 years coming up on Wednesday night at Scope. Maybe we should go out there at Scope and do a Young and Hatfield live, maybe an IG live from we haven't been in an Admirals hockey playoff game. Maybe we get our buddy Dennis, the former Admirals great, to join us to hang out with Dennis. He can get us into some great places if we bring Dennis with us.
I have never been to an Admiral game.
Whoa, in your whole life?
In my life of whole.
No way.
And I'm desperately saying
never been?
I want to go to one of these playoff games.
Wow.
They're home Wednesday coming up, right? Supposedly.
I just told you it's going across our ticker. Now they got a game coming up Saturday night, game 3 in Quebec.
That's tonight.
It's 1-1. Yeah, exactly. Game 4, the Admirals' first home playoff game in 10 years, is coming up Wednesday night.
I got to be there Wednesday night.
We want to pack Scope.
I need a ticket.
Why you got money in your pocket? Stop with the freebies.
See if I got some money in my pocket here.
Gosh, you are ridiculous.
Hold on, because Hatfield. Hold on. Well, I got some coupons there. Okay, let me see how much money I got in my pocket. Can I get in the game? I got some money here.
All right.
Let me count it out.
Don't do that. We've got to take a break because we got a special guest coming up. We'll talk more about the hockey.
I got 6 ones. Can that get me in the game?
No, that can't get you in the game. That can maybe get you a snow cone at the concession
stand. And I want to sit like in the fifth row from the rink.
Listen, we've got NFL Draft Talk with one of the very best in the business. He's an ESPN NFL Draft analyst. Matt Miller coming up next year on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. He's joined us in the past from the radio. He's got tons of insight. He'll also tell you how you find out his big board. He's got an NFL Draft board. He'll give you all the insight coming up here on Cova Sports TV. Let's take a timeout, though. When we come back, we'll hear from Matt Miller after a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the guy begging for money, wanting to go to a hockey playoff game next week, Ed Young. I'm Matt Hatfield. Back in a moment right here on Cova Sports TV.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the PLEX, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Here are two guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are privileged to be joined by a special guest now here on the program. He is one of the very best in the business when it comes to the NFL draft, breaking it down, analysis. You can find it on the web at ESPN.com. He's an insider and also on X or Twitter at NFL Draft Scout. Matt Miller, so kind of join us. Matt, thanks for taking the time. How you been?
Doing well, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, Matt.
Our pleasure. Well, a lot of talk, Matt, about top quarterbacks and where they'll end up, some bona fide wide receiver talent. Is it one of those things or something else that distinguishes this draft to you?
Yeah, I think it starts with the quarterbacks like it does every year. But this year there are a lot of good ones. We could see as many as 4 in the top 10 picks. We could see 6 in the first round. So I think that's the driving storyline of this year's class is the quarterback play and the teams that'll be drafting them. We know the Chicago Bears, like Caleb Williams from USC. The Washington Commanders have the second pick. They'll certainly have their choice of a couple of really good quarterbacks. And then from then on, it's kind of the domino effect of which teams will draft the quarterbacks. The New England Patriots are right there in the mix. The Minnesota Vikings are a team that could definitely try to trade up to grab one as well. So the quarterbacks will dominate things. Offensively, this is a really, really good draft class. In fact, we might see a record number of offensive players drafted. I think in my most recent kind of run through the first round, I had 20 offensive players going in the first 32 picks. So it is a year that's truly dominated. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, offensive tackles. You're going to hear a lot of names called at those 3 position groups when we get to Detroit on Thursday.
Wow, let's go to number 2 because that seems to be where the draft is beginning for most people after the presumptive number 1 pick being the former Heisman Trophy winner and Caleb Williams from Southern Cal to the Chicago Bears. Washington's on the clock. They have a new head coach, new people in their front office from years back. We know Daniel Snyder had the franchise, was the owner. Things went sideways for them towards the end. New name. They went from, the one name to now the Commanders. At 2, is it Jaden Daniels, do you think? Do you think it's somebody else, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy? How do you think it'll be handled? And do you think by draft night it'll be settled, or will they be on the clock still sifting through things? Will they have it all decided by the time they're on the clock?
They'll have it decided by the time they're on the clock. I think that's the benefit of being at number 2 and understanding what Chicago is going to do. So you really have a choice. I think it is between those 2 guys you mentioned. It's between Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from LSU, and Drake May, kind of the upside prospect in this year's class. You hear the Justin Herbert comparisons. You hear the Josh Allen comparisons to his game. So it's really down to those two players. But they'll have that decided by, 7:10 Eastern time Thursday night. They will know who they're going to pick. And what you're looking for right now is really solidarity, within your front office and ownership group. Josh Harris, the owner, has been very involved in this process. So between he, Adam Peters, and Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, will certainly be in the mix as well in trying to decide who that player is. But you're looking for that unified belief in who that player will be, who the quarterback should be. It's not uncommon to be, here we are 5 days before, it's not uncommon for them to still be sifting through information, still deciding on things. They just had everyone in last week for a visit. I think the interesting factor in that right now is something that my colleague Adam Schefter said, I believe yesterday, that there's certainly a belief out there that Jaden Daniels has interest outside of Washington, and that those interests are the Las Vegas Raiders, where he's very well connected to head coach Antonio Pierce. I think the Minnesota Vikings are a team that's really intriguing to everyone who has a needed quarterback because of the infrastructure that they have. So what's going to be interesting to watch this play out is if Jaden Daniels truly has a preference on where he's playing next year, or if he's going to say, I've been waiting my entire life to be in the NFL. I'm going to lean into this process and I'm going to go wherever I'm drafted and look to make that team better. I think by Thursday, we'll probably get some form of statement from Jaden Daniels or from his agents, either saying, hey, we're happy to go wherever we're drafted, or they might put something out and say, we're evaluating all our options as it pertains to the NFL draft, something, PR speak to that regard. But I do think that is like you said, it's where the draft starts. We know that Washington will take a quarterback. We know they're not going to trade that pick. I would say this. I remember the 2021 draft when we all thought the San Francisco 49ers were going to take Mac Jones. And a couple days before that draft, you started to hear, hey, they really like Trey Lance. They really like Trey Lance after about 2 months of, hey, they like Mac Jones. And the guy who was running the scouting department for the 49ers at that time was Adam Peters. So anyone who can tell you what Adam Peters is going to do at number 2 overall, I wouldn't believe him. I really wouldn't, because I was one of those folks that was being told it's Mac Jones for San Francisco. It's Mac Jones for San Francisco. And it wasn't. So we'll see what Adam does, but he's very well connected. He also is very tight-lipped. So I don't think we're going to get any, super credible leaks as to what they're going to do at 2 until they're on the clock.
As you know, this time of year, Matt, it's always the time of information and misinformation as we discuss the upcoming NFL draft, which starts on Thursday with ESPN NFL draft analyst and insider Matt Miller. Follow him on X or Twitter, as some still call it, NFL Draft Scout. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV, Ed.
Hey, Matt, you mentioned a word that I want to go over that nobody's really talking about because you don't know till it happens. Trades. And I think obviously it's going to affect the draft, and it's like a lot of people can't really predict trades. Nobody plays their hand. I saw there was a mock draft or two by somebody, now there's a million of them, but there was actually one that had trades in it, made up their own trades. So I ask you, do you feel there's going to be some trades, and because of so many quarterbacks and guys want to move around, where do you think you'll see a trade or two coming up that can really upset that first round?
Yeah, I think we'll see at least one, and that will be to the number 4 or number 5 pick overall. That would be a team like the Minnesota Vikings or the Denver Broncos or even the Las Vegas Raiders making their move to get that 4th quarterback if we do indeed see them go 1, 2, 3, which is the expectation right now. So that would be the big one. I think there will be some smaller secondary type trades as teams try to move for a wide receiver, or as teams maybe try to move for an offensive tackle, because those are such strong positions in this year's class. But as far as the big trade that could really shake things up, I think Minnesota packaging picks 11 and 23 plus some future draft capital to get into the top 5 to get a quarterback is certainly expected at this point, because, about a month ago, they added that second first-round pick from the Houston Texans. It's rare to add a second first-round pick that early because you don't know who's going to be on the board. So when Minnesota made that move, I think all expectations swung to they're loading up in order to make a move for a quarterback. Denver sitting at 12. Right now they have Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci as their 2 quarterbacks. And the market of free agent quarterbacks has really been wiped out throughout the course of this offseason. So I think the Broncos are another team that they would have to be very, very aggressive. They don't have a second-round pick this year. So you're talking a lot of future capital, but they'll certainly I think be one of the teams that'd be pretty active in trying to get up there to get a quarterback too.
And the other thing I wanted to bring in, you hear so much about the quarterbacks because you need them, and we've seen in the NFL, if you don't have a decent quarterback, you're in trouble. There's no doubt about it. Linemen, I'm always intrigued by really good linemen because if you're talking about having a good quarterback, if you're playing a rookie, you better have some people who can really protect him or he'll be running for his life. And I think, as you mentioned about, there are some pretty decent linemen. Go over some of those other names, and I guess is it the Notre Dame guy, Alt, the number one guy?
Yeah, Joe Alt from Notre Dame is pretty much the clear-cut number one player. What's fun about this offensive line class is I had 8 players in my top 32. So there's a lot of depth this year. And it will be fun to see how quickly that depth gets wiped out because it is a premium position. But they're really good players. Olu Fashanu from the D.C. area as a high school player goes to Penn State. He'll certainly be a top 15 pick. Tali Fuaga from Oregon State is in there as a top 15 pick. J.C. Latham from Alabama, I think will be a top 20 pick. Troy Fautanu from Washington will probably be a top 20 pick as well. So it's a really good offensive line class. I got to throw in Graham Barton from Duke as another player I think could go in the first 20 to 25 selections. Certainly, Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton. I mean, it is such a deep tackle class. And I know for Commanders fans, there's certainly intrigue at that left tackle position. Having those 2 second-round picks, you're probably looking at, hey, how do we get up into the 20s to grab one of these tackles before that position is wiped out because it is so valuable. And there are teams early in this draft. It's also interesting, teams like Pittsburgh at 20, Miami at 21, Dallas at 24, Green Bay at 25. There are a lot of teams in the 20s that can take an offensive tackle. So if you're one of those clubs that has identified this draft as we're going to get better on the offensive line, you almost do need to be aggressive to get up probably into the late teens to grab one of those starting caliber tackles before they're all off the board.
Let me go there with you, Matt. The Jets picking at 10th, for example. I've heard a lot. If Alt's gone by then, which I'm guessing you and many others projecting to be off the board by then, you take Brock Bowers at tight end. They got themselves some tackle help with Smith from the Cowboys. Do you go with that second lineman, or is Brock Bowers to you? I watched him this year at Georgia, like a lot of fans did. Obviously, almost won another national championship. He's a difference maker guy when he's healthy. Do you go there, a tight end? What's your thought on that? A different type of position as opposed to the need or the better player? What's your feeling with the Jets? And are there other teams like the Jets that might have that dilemma beyond the 10th spot in that first round?
Yeah, that he's one of the interesting, I guess, pivot points because he's so talented, but he plays a position that's been devalued to some degree in the NFL draft. You know, a lot of the best tight ends in football were not first-round picks. Even last year, Sam Laporta was picked 34. So there's not a great precedent for drafting a tight end in the first round and having that instant impact, at least. I think for the Jets, they have signaled that they really don't care about anything other than 2024. They have a 40-year-old quarterback coming off injury. They have a 33-year-old left tackle who hasn't played a complete season since 2015. They have a 33-year-old right tackle. They have a 30-year-old wide receiver in Mike Williams who has consistently been injured. So they are really pushing all their chips to the middle of the table and saying, if it doesn't work in 2024, the general manager and the head coach are getting fired anyway. So they are focused on this year alone. And to me, that says you're going to draft the impact player, which would be Brock Bowers in this scenario, as opposed to drafting for insurance in the future on the offensive line, which would be what I think a team that had some security would say, let's draft for the future. Let's get an offensive tackle in here that we can groom behind Tyron Smith. But because they're in this spot where they have to win right now, that's where I think someone like Bowers to pair with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams probably makes more sense for them.
In our final remaining minutes here with Matt Miller, ESPN NFL Draft Analyst with us on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Give us a couple of sleepers. This is where you're so in-depth with this. And some names that aren't being talked about with the Williamses, the Harrisons, the Bowerses of the world that might be a round 2, round 3 guy that fans may remember from their college football days that can have value for an NFL team. Give me just a few sleepers. Could be either side of the ball that you like, Matt.
Yeah, I would say the running back position this year is full of sleepers because there's not going to be one in the first round. So in round 2, guys like Trey Benson from Florida State, Marshawn Lloyd from USC, some guys that we saw in the college football playoffs. Blake Corum is going to be a huge factor at the running back position. He might not be drafted until the 4th round. So there's really, really good value at the running back position. Same with wide receiver. I know we talked a lot about guys who are going to go early, but players like Ladd McConkey, who helped power Georgia to 3 straight amazing seasons. He's certainly in the mix of a late first, early second round pick. Keon Coleman, who we saw at Florida State for their undefeated season, he'll probably be a late first, early second round pick. Roman Wilson from Michigan, he was their go-to wideout this past year. He's a second round pick. So really great years, especially like if you're a fantasy football player. The good news is there's a lot of talent at running back, wide receiver, and even tight end of guys who are going to be drafted outside the first round, even rounds 2 and round 3. There's really, really good depth at those spots.
Matt, I got to ask you, my team is the Raiders. That's my team. I'm not totally sold on O'Connell, the young guy quarterback, and I'm a type of Raider fan. Yeah, you want to build for the future, but we've been doing that for years. Where do the Raiders stand? Who are some guys maybe you're looking at, and is O'Connell the one they're going to go with, or maybe they're going to mess around and try to bring in a quarterback? I hear a lot about Michael Penix being picked maybe later on by the Raiders. Your assessment on the Raiders?
Yeah, like you said, you can only rebuild for so long. At some point, you got to call your shot and take your guy. And I do think they've been connected to Michael Penix Jr. for good reason. Now, do you draft him at 13? That's a little early. So I think the Raiders are one of those interesting teams that they'll probably try to get up there into the Jaden Daniels conversation. I don't know that they'll be able to, just because he's a hot commodity and they're at 13. It's hard to go from 13 to 2 or to 3 to be in that range. So if they miss out on Jaden Daniels, I think an interesting thing to do is to draft an offensive lineman like a J.C. Latham at 13 and then try to get back into the first round to get Michael Penix Jr. You get him on the 5th-year option. You get him at a cost that is a great value, especially when it comes in terms of salary cap. And you put him in there. You have Gardner Minshew, who's a really fine bridge quarterback. We saw that last year in Indy when he had to replace Anthony Richardson. So you're set up pretty well in that scenario. If you can get the right tackle for the future, improve that offensive line, and then you get the young quarterback later in the first round. If they can walk away with that as a first round, I think that's a slam dunk for this new regime.
He's a fountain of information. Matt Miller, ESPN NFL draft analyst, here with us on Cova Sports TV. So kind, and I know his time is so precious and limited. Before we let you run, 2 things I want to hit with you. This is a fertile 757 area code. I'm sure you're familiar with it, with Bruce Smith and Michael Vick, E.J. Manuel, Josh Sweat just a couple years ago, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Notre Dame, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, fell to the Browns in round 2. We don't have as many prospects this year, but I want to throw a name out at you. You may or may not be high on him as far as your board goes, but local player out of Virginia Beach, Tavion Robinson. He started at Cox High School, started out at Virginia Tech, went to Kentucky. Is he a guy that can get drafted later rounds? Do you have him at all in your rankings? And I know you go through it like a fine-tooth comb. Can people in the 757 hear his name called potentially on the last day?
I think he's got a shot. I wish the testing times had been a little bit better. I think that's going to hold him back. But looking at the wide receiver group, his ability to play on the inside, his quickness, his burst after the catch, his burst breaking off stem as a route runner, I think that's going to help him a ton. So he's got a shot. I have him rated as a 7th round to undrafted free agent. I put a 30 on him, which is what that grade means. But I do think he's got a shot, especially with, some of the new special teams format in the NFL. You need guys who can be returners. He's got that, I think, elusiveness as a runner with the ball in his hands that could certainly help him out in that regard.
Look at that, Ed. He broke it down for a guy that most people that are these draft experts on TV that would know. He did it to a science, and that you nailed Tavion. We watched him in high school. He was terrific. He's a little bit undersized, has some question marks, but he could find his way potentially as one of those great guys. Go ahead.
And Matt, I know one person you don't have on that draft board, and that's the dude right over here at Hatfield. So that's why you're the best at what you do.
Hey, Matt, before we let you go, we thank you so much. You're just giving us tons and tons of great information. How can people check out your work on ESPN.com? What do you have leading up to the draft and post-draft? What can they find online and check it out?
Yeah, I just posted my top 475 players, which Tavion Robinson's in there, so people can check that out. I'll have my final mock draft dropping Wednesday, and then I'll be on the ESPN coverage, all throughout the draft. So all day on Thursday and Friday with shows like Get Up, SportsCenter, NFL Live, and then Saturday you can catch me on the set breaking down all the picks from rounds 4 through 7.
You'll see him with Shefty and Louis Riddick and Kuiper and the whole crew with ESPN. Matt Miller, so great with us here today. Thank you so much. Enjoy the draft. It'll be wall-to-wall fun for us all, and then I know you'll get some sleep a couple days after it's done.
Cannot wait for that, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Matt.
much. Matt Miller with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. How cool was that? Getting one of the big timers with us for 15 plus minutes. He gave us actually about 20 minutes today.
And he knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff.
How many guys would have been like, with Taven Robinson? He just rattled it off like he was off.
Yeah,
he knew it like that from Cox High School. Maybe
he did some work.
6th, 7th round. You never know. Could find his way into a camp. Just like a guy outside here at the Plex right now. You know who's out here is Quinn Blanding. We covered him when he was at Bayside High School, All-American in high school for Darnell Moore and the Marlins. Went to UVA, set records there. We're going to get Quinn on the show sometime soon. He's doing some things, I know, with med sales, and he's going to talk about his days in the NFL. We reconnected, and it makes me feel old that I'm watching this guy that we remember when he was a little tyke, and had him and Taquan Smoke Mizell. Smoke's had some things over here at the Plex, and we're going to get some other former 757 great to know throughout the summertime, off season, as we move into the upcoming football season that come back. Remember last year, Josh Sweat had his dodgeball event out here. Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins, the Cheetah, came out here. So this is where celebrities love to come out here to the Plex. And they also get to see Vinny and Ed Young and his 8-ball and the Dick Vitale background and 500 wins.
That's right, boy. I tell you, and there's a lot going on today up here at the Plex.
Field hockey, field hockey tournament. Come on out. We'll be broadcasting on Sunday for that.
So many people are out of park at Town Center and walk here.
That's why I took you so long. You went to Town Center?
Well, I'm going to demand.
They didn't let you go. They didn't let you go park in the Zoop parking lot.
I got to sit down with a head honcho here. I got to get Chuck. I need my own parking space.
CHK didn't let you park in their parking lot?
I'm down at Town Center right now.
What about the Drip Bar?
The Funny Bone or whatever the place is called. That was a heck of a walk. I had a hitchhike halfway here.
We're going to have another big timer. Hall of Famer Bob Rathbun's scheduled to join us in the next hour of the show. He once did Tides games. He did all kinds of things. Old Dominion on radio for years. It was on News Channel 3 WTKR, and I think he's in the Hampton Road Sports Media Hall of Fame and Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. Does the play-by-play for the Atlanta Hawks alongside Dominique Wilkins, one of my old-time favorite players. He'll break down the NBA playoffs coming up with us in the next hour of the show. But it is time for another timeout, and you'll get to hear from folks like Chichos and Zoop and CHKD that make it all possible for us to give you this soon-to-be, we hope, award-winning show from the Plex. Stay tuned. You're watching Cova Sports TV with Dickie V, Vinny, and Ed Young, plus yours truly, Matt Hatfield, right here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe. Back in a moment.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with Cova Sports TV. Also heard on Apple, Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com, part of the Rivals Network powered by Yahoo Sports, on X, or as some still call it, Twitter at 757 Sports Talk, and IG, Instagram too. You can interact with us. Any comments you may have, questions you may have, drop us a note and interact with us on our YouTube channel, Facebook too, with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex, and all kinds of great things happening. We mentioned the Admirals have a home playoff game next week. Tides will be back soon at Harbor Park. They've had a little bit of a skid, but we've seen some great talent come through Harbor Park and join the Baltimore Orioles, who are right there nipping at the heels of Ed's New York Yankees with Juan Soto, who went deep again last night. How about today? Let's give a salute to, we've got Bob Rathbun coming up, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, does the Atlanta Hawks, a guy that did the Atlanta Hawks before Bob, who is retiring as the voice of the Yankees. We're talking about none other than John Sterling today.
The Yankees win.
Burn, baby, burn. What's your favorite? You know, he had some great home run calls, which Mike and the Mad Dog, by the way, helped accentuate over the years. You have one, an A-bomb from A-Rod, or who was your, did you have
anything he did with Derek Jeter?
With Jeter?
Yep. Anything. How about, did you see
El Capitan.
Did you see the video I sent you where he took a foul ball to the head?
Yeah, we've got to find that and put it up on the show.
He's broadcasting a game. He says, okay, there's a ball after bat. You could see the ball's going, the batter swings and the ball's going behind. The ball went in the booth where John Sterling was. He bounced, hit him right smack in the side of his head while he's broadcasting. Most people would have been knocked out. He just bounced right back and, oh, I got hit with a ball and kept on going. Unbelievable.
Well,
what's the chance of that happening?
Well, not only did it happen once, Ed, but it almost, do you know what almost happened again to him?
Wow.
Just recently? I don't have the video of, I probably can find the one where he got hit by the foul ball, but I do have the video, Believe It or Not. Believe It or Not. That was a good song, wasn't it? You remember that?
I remember the song.
We'll play it real quickly right now. This was just recently. Remember, he got hit by the foul ball, and he actually said on the air, ow. Here it was where he almost got hit again.
He thought about the catch, and no, I'm good.
Wow. So a sport coat move.
John took cover. He was like, uh-oh, not again. Not again.
Not catching that with a bare hand. Without hitting something first, you're going to break some fingers.
Yeah.
That happen.
Yeah, I thought I had the video where he got hit by the foul ball.
Got hit. It was unbelievable.
I don't have that one, unfortunately. But if you look it up on the web, you can find it. I knew I should have had that ready. You know what we do have, though? We have a conversation from the P.I.T, the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. Do we not?
this is going to be nice. This is one of the all-time greats, former at WNBA, did some coaching in some different places, but when she played college and pro ball, she was one of the best at one time compared to Michael Jordan as the, quote, female Michael Jordan, if you really want to bring that up. Cynthia Cooper. And my partner got a chance to sit down and talk with her yesterday and get her thoughts. Let's see what happens here on COVID TV Sports.
I'm here with the women's basketball legend, Cynthia Cooper, here at the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, one of the coaches here at this event. I know you were a heck of a player back in your day, Cynthia. What's this event like for you to now be on the sidelines coaching some of these male athletes going on to hopefully get a chance to play in the NBA one day?
No, it's absolutely exciting. Like, I'm so excited to see the level of talent that's here in Portsmouth to really be a small part of what they've already accomplished and will accomplish in the future. So I'm super excited. It's so exciting to be not just on the bench, but really see the growth of these players day by day, game by game.
As excited as you are for coaching these young men and helping them on their journeys, you have to also be smiling at what you accomplished as a player and where the women's game is right now. You were part of the WNBA. I got a chance a couple years ago at the Van Chancellor Classic to meet your former coach, Van Chancellor, with that great group. You were part of that legendary trio with Tina Thompson and Cheryl Swoops. When you see what the women's game is now and when you were, what comes to your mind?
I'm just proud, so happy, so excited, and the level of talent that's coming into the W now is just astounding. It's great. It's great to see all of the excitement around the game. It's great to see the television ratings going up. It's great to see the level of talent that now dreams of playing in the WNBA, so they're preparing sooner, and then they're coming to the WNBA with a different level of talent. So the Caitlin Clarks and Angel Reeses and the Juju Watkins who will be here in a few years. And so it's just great to see the Cardosas from South Carolina, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what is to come, what has happened, and what's to come.
There's a lot of talk, as you know, with the sport. And I think it's a good thing, whether you're on the positive, negative side of it. What do you say to those that say it's just a phase? But you have to like that women's basketball is in the forefront of the conversation nonetheless, right?
Well, everything is a phase. There was a phase where we began the league. Then there was a phase when the league wasn't as popular. Now there's a phase where you're getting very, very popular NCAA players who are transitioning to the W, and they're bringing their popularity to the league. And so, yeah, it might be a phase, but hopefully we go up from here and only get better.
What are you most proud of from your time where the WNBA was just starting out? The Houston Comets franchise, which set the bar. I mean, you were part of, as I mentioned, with Swoops and Tina and Lisa Leslie came along. But what are you most proud of during your time in your career, kind of setting the bar for the players that now do it?
I think I'm most proud of the pioneers that really sacrificed a lot to make sure that the young women had a chance to play professional basketball in America, and you know, laid the foundation, a solid foundation for women to then not just dream of playing in the WNBA, and not just dream, but now you have the NIL in college, and now you can bring that type of energy and fanfare to the WNBA. So I'm really proud of the work that we did early in the league, and I mean every single team from New York, LA, you know, Cleveland Rockers that had a team, the Utah Jazz had a team, the Utah Stars, and they eventually moved to San Antonio and then up to Dallas. So I'm really excited about the journey. I'm happy that we were there and we understood the importance of the league at the time, and now it's just great to see the growth.
Sure. A few more for you, let you roll. I appreciate the time. You know, when you look back at your career, when you played and where the game is now, everybody talks about the three-point shot with the men's game. Do you feel like that's a big difference with the women's game too? What's different about the game you played than now the game you coach?
Well, I don't know that there's a huge difference other than the level of talent and excitement that's been building around the WNBA through the NCAA. And so I love what they're doing in college. They're letting them play. They're getting better. They're cultivating and growing the talent in college so that it's ready to make the transition. They are ready to make the transition to the WNBA. And so you're seeing a different product, a product that fans can be excited about. And so I'm excited that the WNBA has arrived at this level, and I can't wait to see where they go from here.
Final two for you. One's going to be on what you're doing now and what could be in the future. these players now that you're coaching, what are you telling them as they try to get to that professional ranks? You did it on the women's side. What are you telling them as far as how they get to the NBA and how do they maintain, how do they get successful? What are the keys to those points for you?
Well, there's certain adjustments you have to make from college to the pros, and that's in any league that you're transitioning from. So I tell them the mentality, the hard work, the resilience, the determination, all of those things have to show up for 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you showcase your talent to the scouts, to the GMs, and you show them that you're willing to put in the work to be not just where you are, but to be better and better, get better every single year.
Lastly, it's been a topic on our show, and I know it's been for years about will we have a woman coach in the NBA one day? Becky Hammond's certainly been a name bantered about. You know, from our area, from Old Dominion, Nancy Lieberman's a big trailblazer for the game of basketball. I imagine something that could be maybe in your future. Do you think that's going to happen one day? And do you have aspirations to coach at the highest level, maybe men?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's in my future. Maybe an assistant coaching position. I would love to support a franchise and support a head coach in the NBA.
Sure.
But I do think that eventually there will be a female head coach in the NBA. We're very knowledgeable. We're very passionate. And again, we're just growing and growing as coaches, as players, and as coaches.
Well, thank you so much. All the best, and we'll talk again soon.
My pleasure.
So that was Cynthia Cooper with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk as she talks about her experience at the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, her playing days, the state of basketball, women's and men's game, and coaching here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, Cova Sports TV. Your reaction to what she had to say there, Ed, and I don't think people realize what a great she is as far as what she's accomplished as a player. I mean, her accolades include 4-time WNBA Finals MVP, 4-time WNBA champion, 3-time WNBA scoring champion, part of the WNBA's 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th anniversary teams, 2-time NCAA champ. Her jersey numbers retired by the Houston Comets, USC Trojans, and as a coach, she was CA Coach of the Year at UNC Wilmington back in 2011. So she's pretty much done it all as far as a player goes.
When we had this Caitlin Clark discussion during the season, greatest of all time, and I came out and said, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Cynthia Cooper is one of the first names I'm thinking of, let alone I think I've eventually picked Nancy Lieberman as my all-time GOAT. Cynthia Cooper was a phenomenal player who at the same level, let's say she was graduating from college right now like Clark is, I would take Cooper over Clark. And
it's no knock to Clark, just to get that out there. People might say, oh, he's hating like Cheryl Swoops, the teammate of Cynthia did. And then Cheryl Swoops was able to bring back some of her comments when she was on the set with the group with the Gwu McKay and Andrea Carter and some of them during the Final Four for the women's game.
And people have to understand this. It's a matter of opinion. Some of it's fact. It's a matter of opinion. Just because somebody else takes this person and then somebody goes against that, oh, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking. Hold on. It's an opinion. Now, I take Cooper. Let's say you take Clark. We got to play each other. I got to worry about Clark. Our game plan is really geared towards Clark on the offensive end because she's an exceptional talent. But I got Cynthia Cooper. I feel pretty good because you're going to have to worry about her and, of course, whatever else we put around them. Cooper was extremely tremendous player.
Put it this way. If Caitlin Clark has half the pro career that Cynthia Cooper does, and we know what an unbelievable player she was at Iowa and how she has definitely elevated the sport of women's basketball just in the past couple of years. And now she's elevating the WNBA as far as attendance for preseason games coming up and just ticket sales and jersey sales, merch sales. If she has half the career Cynthia Cooper has in the WNBA, she will have done one heck of a job and will have a chance to earn Hall of Fame status because Cynthia Cooper, the creme de la creme. Again, you talk about Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Swoops, those names. She's right there in that Mount Rushmore or among the top 10, 15 to ever do it. And we didn't get to see it, not so much me, but people around here got to see the greats like Nancy Lieberman and Ann Donovan for Old Dominion back in the day. 1980s on up, and the great era of Lady Monarchs basketball, and it was continued on the tradition with Tisha Pinachero starring for Wendy Larry's team that was national runner-up to that Tennessee squad with Shamika Holdsclaw and others. But no doubt about it, if she has half the pro career of a Cynthia Cooper, that is a job well done. You got it done, girl. You go, girl.
And she's just starting out, so let's go from there. I'll tell you what Caitlin Clark's really going to do, and it's already started. You look at her salary, I think was announced the other day. It's like $380,000. And people were saying, what? Is that per game? No, that's her salary over a 4-year period. So now people are saying, wait a minute, the average NBA salary is like $800,000. You can't really compare this now because It's all about finances. The WNBA doesn't play as many games in the NBA. It's played at a time of the year I don't think it's conducive to watch basketball.
But when do you want it to be played?
No, they need to move women's basketball, WNBA, to this NBA season. Now, I know that may cause issues, but that's what you need to do to put more eyes on it. And it's the money. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. And I'm going to make a statement a lot of people don't want to not going to like it.
It's not the first time you've done that or the last, but go ahead.
Yeah, that never stopped me before. If the NBA didn't back the WNBA, the WNBA would not survive.
You're probably right about that.
Sadly.
Probably right about that, sadly.
Because of money. I mean, it's just the way it is.
True.
I don't like it because I think there's an absolute need. Not maybe. It's an absolute need, a professional league for women basketball players.
No, you're speaking truth. Yeah.
Got to have it. The problem is advertisers don't put into it as much because there's not as much eyes on it, not as much butts in the seats as needs be. That's where the problem is. It's not that the product isn't any good. I mean, I prefer to watch an NBA game over a WNBA game. That's just my opinion. Okay. But I'll watch good basketball. I don't care who's playing it. If it's good, I'm watching it. But to hear her salary being that much is a joke. And that's why a lot of women do play overseas during the regular year, like when the NBA's playing, because the WNBA is not, and they make some good money. But of course, Caitlin Clark is what she has a $5 million Nike deal. She's coming up. They're going to have her own shoe and all that. So she's going to make some money. But when you hear those kind of salaries, it's kind of like, wow. But again, there's a reason for that. It's not ability or whatever. It has strictly to do with finances.
We've got another Hall of Famer joining us here on the show. You just heard from Cynthia Cooper, who's coaching at the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. He's an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. You got to watch him on WTKR Channel 3 back in the day. He's joined us many, many times on radio. He's always kind with his time to talk about the NBA playoffs coming up. The award-winning broadcaster from the Atlanta Hawks, Bob Rathbun, will join us next, coming up here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. That's going to be coming your way right after our break, and we hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do the show with you live each and every Saturday from the Plex. Coming up with Bob Rathbun next right here on Cova Sports TV. Stay tuned.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back here to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe with us here on our YouTube channel, streaming all over the web. And we are now joined by a special guest with us here, Ed, on the program. People got a chance to hear him and watch him. He did Tidewater Tides, baseball. He did so many things across the 757. He's a Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, and does the games for the NBA's Atlanta Hawks alongside Dominique Wilkins for Valley Sports. I think we have with us on the program Bob Rathbun. Bob, you with us this morning? How are you?
I sure am. Good morning, guys. It's good to be with you.
Yeah,
good to hear you, Bob.
On the show again, Bob, as people across the 757 love hearing your voice and talking some hoops with you. Before we move into the playoffs coming up in these first-round matchups, which you have some keen insight and analysis that the folks love, and you were spot on the last couple of years as far as predicting things. I think you had Denver last year. You told us that you liked the Golden State a couple of years ago against Boston. You hit it right out of the park. Let's finish up on the Hawks this season. They had some ups and downs. They beat the Celtics a couple of times late in the season, including that rally from 30-plus down late in the regular season, lost in the play-in to Chicago the other day. Give us a sense of what we should expect potentially as far as the future goes. I know they got two big names in the backcourt with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, and people wondering if they'll be back together again come next season for 2024, 2025. Give us a little close of the season for the Hawks if you can.
Well, that is the big question here in Atlanta. Are they going to try to run it back with these two guys at the guard spots, or are they going to try to trade one or both? It's very difficult, given the money they make, to make trades. I would think if Trae were to be moved, it would take a third team to facilitate it because the Hawks just don't really have the assets to be able to pull off a 1-for-1, a 2-for-1 kind of a trade. But this is in the preliminary stages of conversation amongst the executives and the coaching staff as to what is the best way to go. I think the one thing about our season, guys, that really undercut everything we tried to do was the injuries. We just did not seem to go more than a week where we didn't have our top 8 together. I mean, somebody was hurt all the time. And for a team that didn't have a tremendous amount of depth, those were body blows for us. You know, Trae got hurt for 6 weeks. Jalen Johnson was out of the lineup for a couple of months. Hunter, Sadiq Bey blew his knee out. I mean, these are all guys that they count on. And not having them available really hurt the team. And so I think that was a big part of it. But the question, and you're so right, is to what are they going to do? And sadly, I cannot give you an answer yet. I'll know more once we get to the lottery and find out where we're going to pick and all of those things that will draw that question, I think, into a little better focus.
Hey, Bob, Ed Young, great to hear your voice again. Obviously, we miss you in this area.
Good to hear your voice.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, being a coach, I got to ask you, what about the coaching situation with the Hawks? I know one of my favorites, Nate McMillan, was ushered out of there before, and then it just seems to be turmoil. And sometimes if you can't get the coaching part right, nothing else really matters. What about the coaching situation, in your opinion? And we're not trying to fire guys or whatever, but what needs to be done, if anything?
No, in fact, Ed, that's one of our strengths. We have Quinn Snyder, who came on board last season, and this was his first full year, and he's got an outstanding coaching staff that not only in terms of X's and O's for the games, in terms of player development, I don't think we've ever had a coaching staff as strong as this one. We've got to get the player personnel situation under control. We've got to figure out who we are, what we are, how we're going to move forward. And once we decide that, I think the coaching staff will be just fine. There's nobody in trouble. Nobody's leaving that I'm aware of. So we'll run it back with the coaching staff, and I'm glad we do because I think this is one of the very best coaching staffs in the NBA.
Well, you know, Bob, you mentioned about getting the players right. In my opinion, and I think we're related somewhere down the road, Trae Young, I think, needs to be moved. I think it's a little stagnant with him there. I don't know. I think he sometimes comes across as he feels he's one of the top 12 players in the NBA. I'm not sure he is. I'm not going to down him because he's talent. But I kind of think for the Hawks to move forward, they might have to take one step back because you're trading an exceptional talent like him to better himself down the road. And that's my opinion. And I know you've already kind of said, you've got to figure it out.
Well, Ed, it's a fair point.
Maybe in a land that maybe we got to move Trae Young.
Well, they may have to. They may feel like they have to. It's a very fair point, no question. But I think the one thing that all fans need to realize, whether you're a Hawks fan or just an NBA fan, it's hard to make trades involving high-dollar talent. And almost always when the star is disgruntled or wants out, and Trae is not that, he wants to stay, he wants to be a part of the solution rather than being a part of the problem. But when you've got somebody who you're trying to move, you're 9 times out of 10, you are not going to get equal value back. Trae is a max player. Therefore, for teams that are over the cap, you've got to be within 75% of the money to make a trade. That's why I was saying earlier, I think you're going to have to involve a third team. and those get a little tricky. You've got to find somebody who would want Trey, who feels like he would fit into their program and could be either Robin or Batman, depending on your personnel. And then you've got to get something back in return. You just can't let him walk. So you've got to get something back. You're probably going to take a bad contract back in along with it. So it's a very complicated issue. And that's why I was saying earlier, the brass has got to sit down and figure out, okay, this is what we have. We think this works. This doesn't work. How can we fix this? And that's the question that they'll be working on probably over the next 2-3 weeks.
Bob, as we turn our attention now to the first-round playoff matchups, you've got obviously the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference. Boston's a prohibitive favorite in the East. You saw last year where the Hawks pushed them to a 6th game, and we saw the 8-1 stunner, if you will, after Miami lost in the play-in to Atlanta. They recovered, rallied to beat the Bulls. They beat the Bulls much easier this week in the play-in without Jimmy Butler, but they get a rematch in the opening round of the East. Me and Ed sort of are on the fence about this one. I think it could be easy for Boston this go around against Miami, not discrediting Eric Spoelstra and that franchise and Pat Riley and the way they defend and how gritty they are and the workman-like approach they have, but I just feel like they're too banged up, and Boston, a different team this time around with Kristaps Porzingis healthy right now and Drew Holiday in the backcourt. So your thoughts real quick to start off the East here. Boston, definite favorite. Will they kind of cruise their way to the Eastern Conference Finals and dare we say the finals, or will Miami give them a hard time again and possibly knock them off even?
Ooh, lot to unpack right there. Number one, I will be very surprised if Boston struggles with Miami this year. Jimmy Butler is not going to play in this series. I can't imagine that he's going to return to health well enough to be able to get out there. That said, Boston shoots a ton of threes. And if they make their threes against the Miami zone, they will not have any trouble. I just don't think Miami has the same personnel. No Gabe Vincent, no Max Strus. They're not the same team they were. And it's one of the reasons I think they struggled so during the regular season to consistently win games. But to answer the second part of what you said about Boston cruising, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know that there's anybody healthy enough to challenge Boston. That's the first thing. We don't know about Giannis. Obviously, the Knicks are missing Julius Randle, and Anunoby's a question mark. Philadelphia, I thought Embiid labored tremendously in the game against Miami a couple of nights ago. I don't think he's healthy, and I don't know that Philadelphia, without an absolute tip-top Embiid, could get them. All that to be said, I am not a big believer in the Celtics. I think they are a tremendous regular season team. However, if even in winning, 64 games, even in winning that many games, they were horrible in late close situations. Tatum is notorious for not being able to come up with a big shot. Jaylen Brown, it gets to be your turn, my turn. Porzingis is not somebody who wants to go down and get dirty in the post like you have to in the playoffs. So Boston has to prove it to me. I do think they are the prohibitive favorite to come out of the East because the top contenders are banged up so. But I do not think that Boston is some superpower. I don't. I am picking them to represent the East mainly by default. I just don't think there's anybody else strong enough to beat them 4 times in 2 weeks.
I'm with you 100% there, Bob, because I've been telling Ed, I think that Boston will win the East by default because you saw it with the Hawks in some of those games. They couldn't hold the lead. They played that pick who's going to take over, and Joe Mazzulla was still a little green as a coach, not to knock him so much as he just hasn't, had the experience. If they were in the Western Conference, I'm not sure they get to the Western Conference Finals. I think there's a big gap between the West and the East this year with the power, which we'll get to in the West coming up. But Ed, take us through the rest of the East with Bob.
Yeah, Bob, as we look at the rest of these teams, it seems like the flavor coming up is the Pacers. They can score. Can they stop somebody? And my feeling is if you can score and somewhat stop somebody, you only need one more point to somebody, you can do it. So I kind of think, I want to say Knicks because I'm a closet Knicks fan. Of course, Celtics is my squad. I kind of think it's the Pacers. How do you assess their series and then Pacers in general?
Well, I think it comes down to how effective is Damian Lillard going to be for Milwaukee without Giannis. Uh, he has not performed like the star he was purported to be when he was traded there. He just hasn't. He's had good numbers, but that's far different from carrying a team in the playoffs. Now, we know that Dame has had moments in the playoffs where he has been spectacular. Is he going to be able to do it as a favorite team? That's a lot different than what he experienced in Portland. I don't think Milwaukee is playing great basketball. They were, I think, 2 games under 500 after Doc took over. That's a big red flag for me. And you're right. Indiana can absolutely score with the best of them. They're a little better, Ed, defensively than they were at the start of the season. They went to the big lineup basically and let Turner take over at center and bring Jalen Smith in and go big. They were a lot better defensively. Now, that could be considered damning with faint praise. I mean, they were better, and they got to like 19, 20, 21 in net rating, or defensive rating, I should say, since Christmas. And that's helped them. But these are the playoffs, and you're not going to see teams score 130, 140 points in the playoffs because the referees are better, the teams are better, the pace is slower. These games slow down. I do think they can spring the upset on Milwaukee for sure, because I'm not sold on the Bucks right now.
What about the other series? We got Cleveland, Orlando, and of course, you've already kind of said stuff about the Knicks and Sixers. Let's emphasize Cleveland and Orlando. I like Orlando, but I just think they're too young to make a lot of noise right now.
Bob, we got you? I think we might have lost Bob there for a second. We'll try to reconnect here with Bob in just a moment. Oh, we got you, Bob. Can you hear us, Bob? All right, we're having some difficulties with Bob Rathbun. We'll get him back on here in a second, I think.
I just don't. Oh, hey, you got me now, guys?
Oh, I think we got you now, Bob. Can you hear us?
Hello?
You got us, Bob?
Yeah, I got you fine. Sorry about that.
We got you now. You were breaking up for a second. Let's start back up. Ed was asking about the Cavs and Magic. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm disappointed in Cleveland. I think they're not as good as the sum of their parts. Not that I just don't sense the toughness to win playoff games and playoff series. I think the youth and experience has a wonderful chance to spring the upset. I think that's a series that could go either way. I think Orlando gets a big break opening up on the road. If they can steal one of these first two, I think you might have an upset in that series. The Knicks, I like the Knicks. I think Tibbs has got a team that really speaks to his style. You know, Brunson has had an unbelievable season. He is for sure the best player on the court for New York. I think they've got a real chance to make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. Philadelphia, I thought Embiid labored. I did. And if he's not 100%, I don't know if Philadelphia can win, to be honest with you. I just, they're seventh for continued ascension, and I am.
Okay, we've let you say. Go ahead. You were saying? You got us, Bob? You were breaking up again. Go ahead. All right, we're seeming to have a little bit of audio difficulty with Bob Rathbun. We'll hopefully get him reconnected here in a second here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe as we talk to you about the NBA playoffs. All right, Bob, you got us back again?
I do.
All right, we got you back. Go ahead. Finish up that statement. We were losing for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I think if you get the Philadelphia that we saw early in the year, the November-December Philadelphia team with a Maxey who was ascending, an Embiid who was better than his MVP year. Now that Philadelphia I think can really do a lot of damage and would be Boston's equal. But guys, I don't see that. I think this is a team that is so reliant on Embiid. I don't think he's 100%. He looked to me like he was laboring the other night against Miami, even though he came up big in the fourth quarter and led them to that comeback. I'm not sure we're getting the best Philadelphia version for these playoffs. I favor New York in that series.
As we flip over to the Western Conference with the Emmy Award-winning broadcaster of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks here, Bob Rathbun on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and all over the web, Apple, Spotify, and so much more. Sort of piggybacking what you and Ed talked about there, Bob, with the injury question marks with a Giannis with Milwaukee, Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. Western Conference, I look at that maybe the most fascinating series, though there will be a lot of eyeballs on Lakers Nuggets beginning tonight on ABC. And, of course, Phoenix, Minnesota could be viewed as a toss-up with Phoenix's great offense and Minnesota's defense. The young teams on the rise with New Orleans, the 8, taking on Oklahoma City, the stunning 1 seed led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren. That 4-5 matchup I want to zero in with you to start here in the West. Clippers, Mavs, third time they've met. Clippers have won twice before. I just don't know what to expect out of Kawhi Leonard and this Clippers outfit. And then with Dallas, with Luka and Kyrie, they can score at any time, but the defense can be lacking, although they seem to be better this time around. What's your feel on this series? Because Kawhi is always a mystery, and I don't know if he's going to play 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And last year, they were on a roll, and then he went down, and they were done against Phoenix.
I think Dallas is on a roll. I think the Mavericks with Luka having, an MVP-type season, the X factor to me is Kyrie Irving. He, guys, is playing some of the best basketball of his life. And these two together will be very hard to stop. Getting Gafford was a stroke of genius. He can protect the rim. I think Dallas, nobody's really focusing on the Mavericks. I think they're as hot as anybody. I think they're ready to roll. I'm not sold on the Clippers. Even with Kawhi, I think Dallas wins this series maybe in 5, possibly 6.
All right, as we look at the other series in the Western Conference, which one do you think is going to be the most competitive between the Lakers Nuggets, defending champs, taking on LA with obviously LeBron and AD? Can they stay healthy? Because we know their star power and what they can do. The OKC New Orleans matchup and the Phoenix Minnesota matchup. Which one do you think will be most competitive or you're most intrigued by?
I think Oklahoma City will be hard to beat for New Orleans without Zion. OKC's really good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is as complete a guard as you can find. We talk so much about MVP candidates. Rarely do you hear the discussion talk about MVP candidates that play both sides of the ball. And this guy does. He's as good a defender at that point guard spot as there is. Plus, he gets you 30 points a game. He's outstanding. He can distribute the ball. The only question I think about OKC is the overall size when they get a little bit deeper in the playoffs, but I think they'll be okay against New Orleans. That's a very good basketball team. Maybe as big as a home court advantage as Denver in the West. So I think OKC rolls in that series. Denver, LA, I think the legacy of LeBron gives the Lakers a little more credibility than they deserve in this matchup. Denver is the real deal. They are not going to be beaten, in my view. I think they will win it again. And I think they've beaten them 9 straight times. And the Lakers have no one to guard Jokic. I mean, you're going to see Rory Hachimura try to guard him. They do not want Davis on him because they need Anthony. He cannot be in foul trouble. And I just don't think the Lakers have the personnel to keep up with these guys. Now, if LeBron's superhuman and, gets a 30, 40-point triple-double, that changes the equation. But I just don't see that happening. Denver is for real, guys. They are as quality a team with Murray as they were last year. I mean, Jamal Murray compliments Jokic to the T. And as long as they've got those two cats, you got Gordon, who feeds off Jokic like no other. His career turned around when he went to Denver from Orlando. Porter can stroke it with the best of them. This is a very hard team to defend, and I just don't see the Lakers hanging in there in this series. They may get 1 or 2, but I cannot see Denver not moving on.
I'm with you totally, Bob. I've been telling Ed, I think Denver is the quietest team trying to go back-to-back since maybe the mid-1990s. Hakeem Olajuwon led Houston Rockets because they don't get a lot of fanfare, but they're workmanlike. They get it done behind Joker and Murray, those guys that are role players around them that are, almost all-star quality. If they were on other teams, maybe more marquee names like Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, they find a way. And I feel like you said, LA gets more hype sometimes than substance, although you never can count out LeBron and AD if they do play at their maximum.
Correct. I mean, it's the Lakers, right? I mean, it's just going to be an amazing fan base and media-driven love fest. But in reality, the Lakers are. I want to be nice about this. They're just not. They're just not the deepest team. They've got some key guys, certainly. I mean, Austin Rivers is a great story. Taurean Prince used to be with us. We root for him. We love Darvin Ham. There's a lot of great things about the Lakers. But in terms of championship medal,
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, Bob, you still there? I think you were cutting out again.
I am.
Okay, we lost you for a second here in our last couple minutes here with Bob Rathbun, the Emmy Award-winning broadcaster for the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. Our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, COVID Sports TV. NBA playoffs get underway today with 4 games. 4 games tomorrow as they will have the first round best-of-7 series. Ed?
Well, Bob, my attention goes to Phoenix, Minnesota. Phoenix is the Wonder Kids with Durant. You got Booker. You got Beal in there. I like Minnesota. It's a young team that does play defense. I think they're one of the better defending teams in the NBA. They can throw 3 7-footers at you.
Are you going to tell me you told me last night that they can win the West? I'm not so sure about that, Bob. Ed thinks they can win the West. You still think that? Or do you
I think Minnesota can win the West.
I'm not sure
they've
about
got
that.
some guys that are going to pull some people out. The 7-footers that can shoot it, Towns and the other guy, not Gobert. Give me your assessment.
Nas Reed.
Let's go with Phoenix, Minnesota. You've seen those teams.
Well, I have, and Ed, you would love Chris Finch. He is really good. He's done a marvelous job. I think he'll get a lot of votes for Coach of the Year. I'm not sure Minnesota. If they didn't have Mike Conley, I'd really be worried. But we were just there a week or so ago. And there's just something about them. I'm not sure they are ready with the team maturity through the fires of the playoffs to make a deep run. I think this is a little tougher matchup for them than most people are giving Phoenix credit for. I'm not sold on Phoenix. I don't think they have much beyond the big 3. But, Durant can go off against anybody. Booker can go off against anybody. That, to me, is going to be a very interesting series to watch. I do think Minnesota will prevail. I think they got the better overall ball club. Gobert is a menace defensively. He'll probably be our defensive player of the year again this year. But there's something the maturity of an Anthony Edwards in a playoff series. Are the role players going to be able to step up and come through? I'm just not sure about them to make a long run. I think they'll get through Phoenix, but we'll see. Their side of the bracket's going to be challenging. And it's going to be fun to watch. But to me, guys, this is the best part about the playoffs. Last year, this year, is you don't have, you've got so much parity, beneath Boston and Denver, that I think it makes for great viewing, great intrigue, great basketball theater. I'm not somebody that thinks the playoffs have to be a justification of the regular season. I like it like the NHL, where it doesn't matter what you've done in the regular season. It's just all hands on deck, and let's see who the better team is when the money's on the table. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. I'm fascinated with the outcome. It's going to be really a great playoff run, I think.
Yeah, we're looking forward to so much. Before we let you run here, if I heard you correctly, it feels like we're getting ready to do our picks, Ed and I, to close out this edition of the show. I'm sure we'll get you back on as the finals are concluding and we get ready for the NBA draft. The Emmy award-winning broadcaster of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks, Bob Rathbun, so kind of join us. You know him as a Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, who used to call Tides games, all kinds of sports around the 757. He worked for WTKR3, now does the TV side of the Hawks with Dominique Wilkins here on Cova Sports TV. Is it Denver, Boston for you, Nuggets over Celtics in the finals? Is that what you're leaning towards? It's what I'm leaning towards.
Yes, sir. That's my pick.
Okay. Any final thoughts here with Bob, Ed?
No, Bob, I know we got to get running and moving. Just real quick thoughts, and hopefully won't take as long. The in-season tournament, what's your opinion of that?
I knew he was coming to this.
Like it.
Hates it.
More trouble than it's worth.
Okay.
I mean, I think they'll tweak it, Ed, for next year. I don't know how. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do to it, but all they did was, tag regular season games that were already scheduled and going to be played. And they just had a little more, extra weight for the in-season tournament. I don't know. I thought it was a little too gimmicky.
Yes.
It doesn't bother me if it draws attention to November, December games. That's fine. But it didn't really turn me on a great deal, I must say.
Good deal. Well, hey, Bob, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Enjoy the postseason. We'll get you on and talk about WNBA, the draft, the Hawks offseason, and the finals next time we talk to you, probably around June time. And hey, next time I'm in Atlanta. I missed you. I was down there with the Old Dominion women's basketball team as their play-by-play voice, and I need to catch up with you and get some lunch one day. I'll buy, in fact. Ed always says,
"Oh yeah,
winners buy." We'll have to catch up and get some lunch sometime next time I'm down there in the Peach State.
Hey, Bob, if he's buying, get ready. Get your Wendy's order ready.
Exactly. Right. I'll get a pine float, a glass of ice water, and a toothpick.
That's what he's going to buy. It. Trust me, I understand what he buys.
Well, we owe him. He's been on with us every time we ask him.
No, hey, listen, if I know that Old Dominion athletic department per diem, we're going to be eating high in the hog.
There you go. Attaboy. Head is the one and only, the Hall of Famer, Bob Rathbun. Enjoy the postseason, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, guys. Appreciate it.
That is the great Bob Rathbun giving us some time here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We apologize for some out there that missed some of what he had to say. We had some in and out. As you know, sometimes phone connectivity issues, Wi-Fi, but we'll have an archive if you missed some of it. I think it does come out cleaner for folks that aren't watching it live, maybe sometimes wherever you are, but he did give us a ton of great insight talking about the world of professional basketball with the Hall of Fame. We've had some greats on today. We've had Bob Rathbun, Cynthia Cooper. We had on Matt Miller from ESPN. I mean, it's just been a jam-packed show, and we're almost out of time as we're approaching 12 high noon. And I know you're hungry for some. What are you hungry for? Some Chicho's pizza, some Zoop. What are you hungry for? All kinds
pizza.
of things.
We got Nick called. We got to get Nick to call Chicho's and bring us in the pizzas for the
bring
show.
you a pizza. Eat on the air.
Got to have pizzas on here.
Yeah.
Soup would be good too. That's probably what I should be eating is the soup, not the pizza. But we just need a little food from all the commercials, so we can sample it and then do a ranking.
Yep, and
sports is all about ranking.
We're going to actually take the show on the road in the future. The powers that be allow us. We'll go out there and do some shows on remote location. Fans can come see you and Vinny and your 8-ball and have a great time with him. So Bob's with me. I've been telling you, he told you the Celtics win the East by default because, listen, good team, but late. He's seen it. He's called a couple of games. Late in games, they get very sketchy. But who do you trust and who's healthy? Like he talked about with, you got Kawhi, Giannis, Embiid, and I do feel like he hit on something. I think Dallas is a different team this go around. They could sneak in there. If anybody other than Denver wins the West, people are highlighting the Lakers. They're circling maybe, like you said, Minnesota. I think they're a year away with their youth. OKC could be a couple years away with Chet and Shea being so very, very good. Maybe a slept-on 1 seed, maybe the most slept-on 1 seed since the Hawks several years back when they fell to LeBron and the Cavs. But I got a sneaky suspicion Dallas could be a fly in the ointment. Who gives Boston trouble in the East? I have no earthly idea unless Giannis and Dame and company can get it together because the Knicks, the Sixers, the Pacers, there's too many question marks with other teams in the East.
I tell you what, Boston has to feel some tremendous pressure because everybody is saying, we got to do the 8-ball. We're going to do that. We're going to see if the 8-ball we're going to win the championship. Nick, what's the Timberwolves?
For those listening on Apple and Spotify, our man Nick said, "Can we use the 8-ball, Ed's 8-ball, to see if the T-Wolves will win the championship?"
I think the Timberwolves are good. I think they can beat Phoenix. I don't know if they could take down Denver. I think Denver's coming out of there, and I think Denver can definitely beat the Celtics. But the Celtics pressure in the East, it's like And Bob made a good point. They're built for the regular season, and you want
They
to
are.
say you're built for the playoffs, not regular season. Are they going to be able to do it in the playoffs?
I do think the Lakers are built for the playoffs, but it's the wrong matchup for them. And like he said, their depth, when you get to Austin Reeves and past those guys after the main guys after LeBron, AD, when you get past Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, can you count on Rui Hachimura? Can you count on some of these guys on their bench? I don't know that you can. And Denver's got some question marks about its bench. I think that might go. We'll do our picks coming up next, 6 games, and we'll also do some NHL picks for the Stanley Cup. See who was closest there. He's going to be pulling them out of a hat with the NHL like he does with his NASCAR picks.
I know some hockey. By the way, I'm still waiting for my Admiral hockey tickets for Wednesday. I got to go. I want to go. I'm going to have a bucket with people donating so I can sit.
I told you we need to go with Dennis. Dennis can get. First of all, he's an Admiral great. We'll go with Dennis, and then he'll educate you and me about
because you go with Dennis and a fight breaks out on the ice. Dennis hits who's ever next to him. He has a flashback from when he played it. I'll be sitting right next to him. He'll be slugging me, and I wasn't even in the. I can't even drop my gloves because I don't even have them on.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely want to be at the Admirals Wednesday. I want to sit near the ring.
Oh, now you want to have special seats too.
I want to sit.
He wants to have hors d'oeuvres. He's going to be doing this with grapes. Look at you.
I'll give up the hors d'oeuvres. I just want to be close to it. I don't want to have my feet on the ice because boy, you get some cold.
You've done that enough at Scope, haven't you? For basketball.
I already did that with basketball, sitting there. And I've only gone to a couple hockey games in my life, and they were both college when I coached at Quinnipiac.
I'm amazed you've never been to an Admirals. As long as you've been here, you've never, not one.
I'm embarrassed to say that.
I should have embarrassed you to Bob, by the way. You were making fun of me. I'm going to buy him a place again that doesn't sponsor us. Nice job by you. I'm going to say, Ed's never been to a he'll say, are you out of your mind, Ed? And he did say you like Chris Finch. Maybe he can hook us up getting Chris Finch on the show.
I got to go Wednesday night. I want to be there. Man, I should even get an Admiral jersey. Put an Admiral jersey.
Oh yeah, you with an Admirals jersey? That'd be cool.
And bring in a hockey stick, just to raise it. And like I said, when they do start fighting on the field, I go. What I'd love to do is have a hockey stick and you sitting next to me. When a fight breaks out on the floor, I could just swing the hockey stick and hit you with it.
Why are you condoning so much violence? That's not nice.
You got to get in the mood. It's hockey. It's playoff.
I get that.
You got to do it.
I don't think you're going to pick who I'm picking to win the thing in hockey. And I guess they have the seeds as 1 wild card, 4, 5, 2, 7. We're going to flash it across our ticker here in the next break. How the seeds are, but I've been doing some studying on the hockey, listening to some experts on this.
I already got my 2 teams in hockey.
You do? Okay. Well, that's coming up next. We'll do first round NBA picks, and we'll do an NHL Stanley Cup NBA final pick when we come back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We're going to hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do this show with you at the Plex. And also, when we come back, we're going to conclude as well our last segment of today's show with how we do over-unders for the NFL, for Major League Baseball, for the NBA. You'll get a chance to see how Ed Young and Matt Hatfield's over-unders did for this year in NBA basketball. You don't want to miss that because it's mighty, mighty fascinating to see who won, who lost.
I already know who won that too. I feel good.
No, you didn't win that. Let's hear from some of the people that make it possible, such as our friends at Town Bank and One Life. Back in a bit here on Cova Sports TV.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And it's 757 Saturday Sports Talk here. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Cova Sports TV, wherever you may be tuning in. We thank you for doing so here on the program with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. It's been a jam-packed show from Cynthia Cooper, Hall of Famer, to Hall of Fame broadcaster Bob Rathbun and ESPN NFL draft guru Matt Miller. If you missed any of the show, we'll have it up for you archived on our YouTube channel. It's also on Apple, Spotify, X, or Twitter as they call it. We'll have it up on IG. Might even do some IG live specials for folks coming up in the days to come. We've got some neat things in the works. Again, check out the new lacrosse hour we've got here at the Plex. People want to check that out with Coach H and Coach Havila. You've got Jack Lowe with Tides Talk podcast. We've got streaming for you all the time, from football to lacrosse to soccer, so much more. And it's all right here at the Plex through our great friends at Cova Sports TV, making it possible, and Hometown Sports Productions. All right, well, we got an update here before we actually we do. Here we go. We've got, Ed, the latest. You're gonna love this. NBA over unders to close out the season. We did our NBA over unders before the season. You picked 3, I picked 3, and here it is for the ladies and gents out there. Matt and Ed over unders. Would you like to tell the audience how that turned out for you and me? That's just beautiful. If you can't, are you able to decipher what those abbreviations are? I hope you are.
Yeah, mine was altered. It was changed up, and my up. Yep, my lawyer wants to look at this. He's going to be dealing with this. It's not what we said before. Vinny, just calm down. They changed it. I had Oklahoma City over. He turned it to under.
No, you didn't. You had over under
San
44 and a
Antonio, I
half.
definitely had over more than
Under
29.
157. You weren't even close on that. You had the Spurs over 29 and a half. I guess you talked to my dad, Mike Hatfield, the lifelong Spurs fan, and you got confused on that one.
It's going to be
because
another.
they only won 22 games, so that wasn't even close. And you had over for the Cavaliers, so I know you had to be livid with them losing their last game. It would only got you 49, though. You still would have lost. You needed 51 wins, so you missed it by 3. Me, on the other hand, I had under for the Pistons, easy in the bank. They only won 14 games, under 28 and a half, piece of cake. Over 44 and a half for the Pelicans, despite Zion getting hurt a little bit this year. He did play when we needed him to. 49 wins for the Pels. Good job there. And I had the Magic as an under 37 and a half, which turned out to be a bad pick. Who saw them winning 47 games? Who saw that coming? I didn't see that coming. So 2-1 for me. Can live with that. But hey, 2-1, 0-3 for you. Yet again, another one bites the dust, Ed.
Well, I remember San Antonio. I did think they would win more than 20. I thought I put them at 30. They're just a hodgepodge of what they used to be. Cleveland, what? I missed you. Did you say by one game?
A couple.
49.
You needed 48. They needed to win 51, so you missed it by 3.
And Oklahoma City, I didn't think they were as good as they. If you had told me last year they're going to have the second best record in NBA, I was going to be saying, what, all the other teams quit. They're a young team, but they put it together, and I like what their future holds for them if they keep everybody together. But yeah, that's just the way the ball bounces.
So if you're keeping track from our radio days, I was 2-1 the year before. He was 1-2 the year before, and then the year before that, I was 3-0, and I think you were 2-1. So I'm just kicking your tail right now.
I'm going to have to stay away from overs and unders.
Yeah. Well, it's time to do our NHL and our NBA playoff picks. So let's do a little fun with this here. Some NBA and NHL playoff picks. You want to start with the hockey first, since you said you are so ready to go with hockey?
Yeah, we can do hockey.
All right, Eastern Conference, Western Conference. See the matchups for both hockey and basketball scrolling across our ticker as it starts off. Admirals got a home playoff game coming up on Wednesday. Ed's planning to be out the scope, he says. I'll believe it when I see it. I think they're going to ban you from all the things you've been saying. They won't let you in. They're going to have an ID, picture you, and say, don't let this guy in. Anyhow, NHL playoff picks. Who do you have winning the East and the West? Do you have the bracket up, or do I need to bring you a bracket?
I don't have the brackets in front of me.
I got to share a bracket for you. You are so unbelievable.
I was waiting for our intern. Where did our intern? He was here earlier. Now he ran out the door.
Calm down.
He ran out the door. The intern is supposed to put up the info.
You complain. There's the bracket from NHL.com. You see it on our screen for those that can't see it because they're listening on Apple or Spotify, whoever it might be. The Western Conference, you're looking at Dallas and Vegas. You're looking at Winnipeg, Colorado, Vancouver, Nashville, Edmonton, and the LA Kings. You want to go first or I go first? Who wins the West?
Are we doing each series? Just
in the purposes, we can if you'd like. Or
let's go. Let's do it. I want it all the way through.
He wants to go all the way through. Top of the bracket, Dallas, Vegas. Who wins?
Dallas.
All right, I've got Vegas. You're wrong. Winnipeg, Colorado.
Give me Colorado.
Can't name 2 players for Colorado.
They got Smith and they got the kid, the goalie named Johnson. They're pretty good.
Oh, Smith and Johnson. There you go. You couldn't give us their first names if your life depended on it. How about the Vancouver-Nashville series?
Got to go with Canada somewhere. Give me the Canucks for that one.
You're going to go with the Canucks. By the way, do you know the last time a Canadian team won it all? No team from Canada has won the Cup since what year? Do you know?
2011.
He's way off on this, Nick. Unbelievable. 1993 with the Canadiens. See, I did my homework on this. You're going with the Canucks, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vancouver.
This is a toss-up to me. It really is a toss-up to me on this one. I want to come back to it, but I'm going to go with Vancouver in this one. I don't feel good about it. I'm going to listen to you for a change, which is going to get me in so much trouble. Now, this one I feel very good about. And that is Edmonton and the LA Kings.
I go first. You're going to go first in the East. I'll go first in the West again. Give me the LA Kings.
You are way off on this. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, who's a free agent. This is the last stand for the Oilers, as it's been written by The Athletic and a lot of media pundits out there. I've got Edmonton winning this series and going all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Give me the Oilers to get it done. Did you pick a Western winner?
I'm picking a Western winner. I'm going to go with Dallas.
You're going to go with Dallas. Okay, you're going to go with the Stars. All right. As we go back to the eastern portion of this bracket, as we scroll it up here, at least we attempt to scroll it back up. There we go. Florida and Tampa Bay in the East.
You go first on the East.
I'm going to go with the Lightning. Take that back. Take that back. Let me see here. Florida and Tampa Bay. Boy, I tell you what. Yeah, I'm going to go Florida. I'm thinking about it again. I'm going to go Florida. I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go. It goes to full 7, though. Lightning, they've got some pedigree, but I'm going to go with Panthers. Let me scratch that out. Going Panthers.
I'm going Florida.
So you agree with me? Okay. Boston, Toronto. Who you like?
You go first.
I'll go Bruins.
Me too. That's my team, Bruins.
That's your team. All right. You adopt teams. It's so funny how that works. Rangers and the Caps. Caps were the long shot to get in. Fortunate to get in. I got the Rangers. Well, I'll give it away now. I got the Rangers. This is their year. They haven't had a year since '94. That Mark Messier dream year. Give me the Rangers to get to the Cup final, and they will win that series with the Caps. I think they might win it at 4-5.
I go Rangers.
All right. And our last one in the Eastern Conference, Carolina and the Icelanders, or the New York Islanders. Who do you have in that one? Carolina is viewed by some, and many, in fact, not just some, as the favorite or co-favorite with, say, the Rangers and Panthers in the East. I got to go with Carolina in this one against the
I do too. I think Carolina's a little bit hockey stick ahead of them.
Okay, so your Stanley Cup final, you've got who beating who in the final?
I'm debating between Florida and the Rangers. I think it's the Ranger year because I love Linda Cohen and she's a big Ranger fan, so I'm going with.
So you're basing it on Linda Cohen?
Going with Linda Cohen.
So you're going Rangers over Dallas in the final?
Rangers. No, I'm going to go Dallas over Rangers in the final.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go Edmonton and the Rangers in the final, as you heard me say earlier. And even though Carolina is viewed as the overall favorite, I'm going to go with Edmonton to break the Rangers' hearts in the final and win the whole thing as Edmonton breaks that drought. How about that?
Okay.
All right. What's up next? The NBA is up next. Do you need a bracket for that too? You probably do, knowing you, because it's just how you
I should
operate.
know it. Hey, by the way, William Byron says, great job, Ed Young. See, you didn't want to say that.
Where did you say that at?
I just noticed that.
He said that up there, William Byron?
Yeah, William Byron said, no, Nick said I did a great job. Oh, Nick said I did a great job.
Oh, there you go. That's on the screen. Well, you are technologically challenged. You know
Denny
that?
Hamlin, he's going to win today.
Is that what you're going with?
Well, first of all, where are they racing?
Talladega. Do you not see what it says? William Byron wins Talladega.
Oh, okay. Nick is
you are more lost than Art in honor of the great blast man.
Okay,
Gugu's
I'm
duck.
going Denny Hamlin.
He said Gugu's duck. You
Yeah,
are
side
so lost.
situation.
You are just lost in film. That you're there. There's your NBA playoff brackets as we take down the William Byron pick there. For the NBA, as we put up the NBA ticker matchups.
All right, I'll go first in the East.
Go with series by series here. You going to pick them out here, series by series for folks?
Yeah, I'll do first in the East. You do first in the
ahead.
West. We'll flip-flop it from. So you go first in the West.
All right. Thunder Pelicans, give me OKC.
There's 2 games, too, on this one.
All right. Give me OKC with Shea and the boys with Chet Holmgren to win that in. I'm torn between 5 and 6. I'll go OKC in 5.
Yeah, I'm going to go Thunder in 5.
Let's give a little bounce music for this as we talk some basketball, folks. You're going 5? Mavs. The full length. They win Game 7 on the road.
Oh, boy. I was going to say Mavs in 7, too.
All right.
So far, we're exact.
All right. Timberwolves and the Suns. I'm going to go Phoenix in 7. They win a Game 7 on the road.
I'm going to stick with the Wolves in 7.
All right. Nuggets, Lakers. I'm going Denver in 6. Oop, we clicked on the matchup, in fact. Nuggets, Lakers. I'm going to go Nuggets in 6.
I'm going Nuggets in 5.
All right. Eastern Conference, you get to go first. We'll pick out our champions in a moment. Celtics, Heat.
Celtics in 5.
I'm going to go Boston in 4. I think they sweep them. Cavs, Magic.
Cavs in 6.
You surprised that both Shaq and Charles Barkley picked the Magic?
It's a young team. You don't know what they have, and if Mitchell don't do something with the Cavs, they have no shot. But I'm going to go Cavs in 6.
Yeah.
Cavs in 6.
This is going to show that Magic need to go get a shooter in the offseason. They go with Paulo Banchero, Jalen Suggs in that group. Klay Thompson could be that guy, veteran shooter. I'm going to go Cavs in 5, even though Cleveland, I think, is not trustworthy. By the way, we mentioned the PIT. J.B. Bickerstaff, the coach, his nephew is T.J. Bickerstaff from James Madison. And, of course, grandfather Bernie, coached in the NBA a long, long time. All right, Bucks and Pacers.
If Giannis is not playing, I'm definitely going Pacers. And if he's playing, he may not be 100%. I'm going to go Pacers in 7. Now cover myself a little bit.
I'm going to go Pacers in 6. Whether he plays or not, I think it's going to be hard to win with that hamstring. I'm going to root like heck for the Bucks. I like the Bucks. In fact, we're going to try to get on next week. It'll be Game 3. We'll get on Dave Kane, the play-by-play voice, potentially if he's available, from the Milwaukee Bucks, who's used to do UVA sports, basketball, football. Get him on the show. And then you have Knicks and Sixers, your series that you're loving up. You go first for this one.
I'm going to go. Again, it's so much with Joel Embiid and what's he bringing to the table.
You want to take the Knicks. You know you do. Be honest. Jalen Brunson. You and Demetrius and Brian Smith from 13 News Now, who we saw at the PIT last night. He's a lifelong diehard Knicks fan. Y'all will all be rooting for the Knicks.
I got a Knicks jacket. I got a couple Knicks shirts.
Yeah, you'll have your heart broken. Make a pick. We're running out of time here.
Give me the Knicks in 7.
I'm going to go Sixers in 6. They won't win a Game 7 at the Garden because they'll close them out in 6. How about that?
I'll probably change that pick an hour from now.
Who wins the East? Who wins the West? How many games?
Celtics win the East. Denver wins the West. My Celtics will win it in 7. They got
your Celtics.
They don't. I'm going Celtics.
You are so wrong. Me and Rathbun are telling you right now, they're going to get to the finals by default, but Denver will beat them, and they'll close them out in 6. That will be what transpires. And we are out of time. This was a jam-packed, fun show. If you missed any of it, it's always archived for you on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank our entire team, from Chuck Thornton and Nick Senti to Jack Lowe and Garrett Jackson and Dennis McEwen, the whole gang that make it possible for all of us to do this with you out there. There's the Magic 8 Ball. We'll talk to you again next week from the Plex as we close out the month of April. Can you believe we're getting closer and closer to our 1-year Annie of doing this? It's, as Dick Vitale says in the background, it's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
By the way, Nick, 8 Ball says Minnesota wins the NBA championship. Reply is no. It just says here, my reply is no. So, Nick, Minnesota won't. Now, will Minnesota beat Phoenix? Because I said they will. 8 Ball says, if we can get an answer.
You got a defected 8 Ball.
That's not too good.
How do you get a defected 8 Ball?
Probability is not. That ain't good for me either because I picked Minnesota. 8 Ball is A. I've used this many a year. I finally found it the other day. I said, we're going to have this. And is Hatfield going to win his next bet?
Hey.
I don't know if you bet or not, but if you do, let's see. Ooh, statistics say yes. What does that mean, statistics?
All right, I make a bet that Ed's going to give me $1 million when the show's over. There you go.
You got rest assured. I got $6 in my pocket. I need to get to the Admiral game on Wednesday. So I need somebody that's going to get us right down front, somewhere in the middle, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I'll go top first 10 rows. First 10 rows. I need somebody to get us there. And I want to see the Admirals play. I want to see the Admiral win. And I'm not going to the hockey game for the fights. I really hate the fights. I just want to see hockey at its best. So that's what I want to see. Please
like, share, and subscribe to our show, and drop us a comment on who I can bring in as a new co-host, because he's driving me crazy at this point. We're going to thank everybody for coming on the show. I'm going to go get some meds and take a nap because he's just driven me to Headache City.
Here's my guy.
Here's Vinny.
Vinny says, I ain't going nowhere because I've got a lifetime contract. So therefore, Vinny's investigating a few other things. So I may need a co-host.
We'll talk to you next week and tell you where Ed Young is coaching basketball next week on the show right here on Copa Sports TV. Like, share, subscribe right here. Enjoy your sports weekend, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time from the PLEX. Have a great weekend. See you later.